Chapter 7. Work Ethic, Commitment, and Attitude. Motivation is simple. You eliminate those who are not motivated. Lou Holtz, Notre Dame coach. Performance profile, Aron Ralston. Title of profile, Committed to the Bone. Aron Ralston was a rock climber who spent 5 days alone in a remote canyon with his hand and arm pinned under a 2-ton boulder. Facing certain death, he broke his own arm, cut off his hand and forearm with a Leatherman to save his life. The key to success? You recognize what you have to do, and then you do it, no matter what. Backed it up? After 5 days with no food and little water, Ralston cut off his own arm, climbed up a 100-foot canyon, roped down a 75-foot cliff, and hiked 7 miles in 95-degree desert heat before being rescued. What's the lesson? Face reality. Take responsibility for yourself through your commitment. Entitled to what? Maybe you think being a union guy entitles you to special privileges, that certain perks come with the territory. Well, I got news for you. Nobody's entitled to anything. In union construction, there's no guarantees or special considerations for anybody. It doesn't matter if your grandfather or your dad was in the union. It doesn't matter if you know people. When you join, you get exactly one thing, an opportunity to prove that you've got what it takes to be one of the best in the world. This chapter is about how to make that opportunity work for you. Making a contribution, big or small. A good hand is always looking for ways to contribute. Doing something, anything, is always better than standing around doing nothing. Worried about getting yelled at for doing something you shouldn't be? Well, you'll definitely get yelled at if you stand around with your thumb up your ass. Well, you get the idea. Once when I was a rookie, I dragged a bunch of screw jacks through mud up to my knees on a freezing morning. Nobody asked me to do it. I just saw that it needed to get done, and I did it. That was the day I made the team. Nobody said anything, but the journeymen all treated me different after I did that. It doesn't have to be a big deal. Clean something, move something, lay something out for the next section of work. Think ahead, plan ahead, work ahead, look around for something to do. What if it was you giving your best effort? Imagine your kid needed life or death surgery. What if the surgeon showed up late for the operation, talked the whole time, didn't use his instruments right, took a bunch of breaks, and wanted to leave early? You'd wish you hired a different surgeon besides wanting to kick his ass. Well, no matter if you're a doctor, lawyer, craftsman, or cop, you got to be committed. Your level of commitment on the job site every day will make the difference whether union construction lives or dies. Performance profile, Cal Ripken Jr. Title of profile, The Iron Man. The baseball player going into the Hall of Fame on the first ballot. Not the best player at his position, but he played in more games without missing one than anyone else. Went to work sick, hurt, tired, and discouraged. Inspired everyone around him with his work ethic and his will of iron. Key to success? Go in every day to contribute no matter what. Backed it up? 2,131 games in a row. What's the lesson? There's no substitute for an awesome work ethic. It reveals the individual and inspires everyone around them. Being there matters. Being at work every day matters. It matters a lot. Some guys think, what's the difference if I show up or not? What's the difference? What if you were a NASCAR driver and one of your pit crew doesn't show up for an important race? Now your crew boss will have to reassign somebody. Of course, that guy won't be quite as good at his job as a guy who didn't show. You lose seconds on your pit stops, and in tough competition, you need every edge. When you run short, you can't win. There's confusion and delay, and if the missing guy has a key job, the entire team can fall apart. Every guy on every job is important. Without you, there's a hole that has to be filled. Without you, the team isn't as effective or competitive as it needs to be. Even if you feel burnt, bummed, or raw in the morning, just drag your butt out of bed and go. They need you, and they need you today. The dumbest thing I ever heard. A young guy on a job site told me once, "Hey, the boss should be happy I didn't come in. Now he doesn't have to pay me." Hey, genius, what do you think it costs that boss to run the crew shorthanded? Take a guy off another job? Delay or cancel that part of the job? Have too few guys doing too much work and how that affects safety? Or have another union do the work instead of him? Or worse, call the hall and get somebody raw and late to replace him. Yeah, buddy, the boss just can't believe his good luck. The long weekend. Absenteeism is a huge problem, especially before and after weekends. 75% of no-shows happen on Fridays and Mondays. Doing a little hunting, fishing, skiing? Need an extra day and figure you can just give the boss a bullshit story? Don't run out of dead aunts and grandparents. So you don't feel like going in. What do you think it's going to be like for the guys who have to cover for you? How do you think that feels? Trust me, it gets old real fast. Everybody has to have a life. Nobody wants to grind it out every single day. But leaving your crew short so you can have your own personal holiday is just a lie in action. If this is you, don't do it. And if you don't do it, don't tolerate it on your crew either. No-shows cost you a 60-inch plasma TV, a trip to Hawaii, and a few cold beers. If you're absent, by your own choice, 6 extra days a year for long weekends or whatever, what does it cost you over a year, or more importantly, over your career? Well, 6 days each year, let's say that's 48 hours, times a $35 total package, is $1,680 out of your pocket. Now, let's take 6 days each year for your career. That's 6 days times 25 years, it's 1,200 hours, times $35 is $42,000 out of your pocket for no-shows. By the way, $42,000 will buy you a 60-inch plasma screen TV, 10 years of cable, a family trip to Hawaii for about 2 months, a custom engraved shotgun, and a 6-pack of cold beer. Transportation is a lame-ass excuse. This is going to be short and sweet. Make sure you have dependable transportation. Make sure your truck or car starts in the morning. Take care of it so it will take care of you. My truck won't start is an excuse that usually doesn't fly more than once. And if you get your license yanked, make sure you got buddies lined up who are willing to take your gas money. What if it was you, transportation? Let's say you got 50-yard line tickets to the NFL playoffs. You and your buddy have been hoping all season to see this game. A half hour before the tailgate party, your buddy calls and tells you his car won't start. You're going to miss the first quarter at least. What are you going to tell him? "Oh, I understand. It's no problem." No way. You're going to be pissed off, and that's putting it mildly. Bottom line, are you going to blame him or his car? Just give me a break. How many breaks do you take in a day? How many do you really need? Some guys take a pee break, then a smoke break, then a coffee break, then they get a long break while waiting for materials. You get the picture. On some jobs, there's a lot of waiting time. On others, there isn't any. Shit happens. You got to be flexible. You don't want to be abused, but neither does a contractor. Breaks add up, and they cut into workflow and productivity. You want to spend your day drinking coffee and taking breaks? Here's a career tip. Go to work for the government. What if it was you, late starts? Let's say you hired Tom the handyman to paint your back porch and replace your garbage disposal. You're going to pay Tom $20 an hour cash. On the first day, you see Tom out in his truck at 8 o'clock drinking coffee, and he comes in, finishes his coffee, and gets his tools together, lays his stuff out, and gets to work around 8:15. No big deal, right? But let's say you notice Tom doing this every day, and at the end of the week, when he hands you his bill, he's charging from 8 a.m. each day. What are you going to do? Are you going to pay him the 1.25 hours for his morning coffee drinking? He thinks it was part of his workday. Do you? You wouldn't pay somebody for drinking coffee and getting ready to work. You pay them to work. Why should anybody pay you unless you're working? On a union job site, the work begins when the shift begins. If you're wondering what the big deal is with a few minutes a day, think about this. A late start, 10 minutes a day, adds up to 215 minutes over 3 hours per month, or 2,580 minutes, or 43 hours a year. 43 hours a year, that's more than a whole week of being paid for doing nothing. At $50 total cost, that's $2,000 per year. Now who can afford that in a competitive marketplace with the non-union coming after us? And that's only 10 minutes. On plenty of job sites, late starts can go 15 minutes or more. Bottom line, don't do it. You'd never put up with it if it was your money. Be just as tough-minded when you're on the job site and be ready to work when the shift begins. Continued on Disc 2.